What's up, guys? Steve with Miracle Canine. So right here, we're out here with 7, so the 2 pot cakes we've been working with. And today we're going to take a minute to go over just continuing to progress them in a fun fashion here, teach them new things, overcome different hurdles. And what I want to focus on today is we're going to focus on treadmill training with them. So this will be a very interesting video because it'll showcase obviously our process for how we get dogs acclimated to the treadmill. But in addition to that, we're taking a dog that is genetically a little bit more fearful of a dog and teaching them that, which could make the process a little bit more tricky, so you can see a little bit more of the hurdles along the way if you have a dog at home that as you're working through the treadmill training process, you experience issues. So we're gonna break this down in a really step-by-step manner. And the very first step of treadmill training is just getting the dog acclimated to getting on and off the treadmill, just like we've done with any other hurdles, whether it's agility equipment, beds, getting on new surfaces, walking where they don't want to, stuff like that. So I'm just gonna start working through this process of getting up and on the treadmill, stepping on it, feeling that weird new texture, and then getting them comfortable with that. That's my very first step here. Very good. If your treadmill at home is pushed up against the wall, generally we recommend trying to get it in the middle of the room. And you could even work on just walking over it with the dog, going from both directions, and just making sure that there's not a ton of insecurities or fear around getting onto that treadmill. That's step number 1. Now, if your dog is food motivated, obviously incorporating a food reward when they get onto it, you absolutely can do so. We're gonna be doing this all without the food, just as a confidence building hurdle that we wanna work on, like you've seen with a lot of other things. Good job, buddy. So we'll do a couple more repetitions of this. This is step number 1. Good job, come on. And there's no expectation of staying on it, having all 4 paws on, anything like that. Right now we're just getting him used to just getting on and off at his pace. Good job, buddy, come on. Good job, come on. Nice, come on. So once you have the dog in a stage where they're getting on and off of it smoothly, there's very minimal resistance to get them to step onto that surface. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start to create some boundaries to this, which is where we wanna see them get 4 paws on, we wanna see them stabilize momentarily, and then we'll start actively releasing them off. So we got 4 paws on, I'm just gonna wait here for a second, make sure he's understanding stabilizing there. Good job, buddy. Okay, and then I'll release him off. And we'll do that a few times. This is step number 2. Good job. Now, if you were to step off, I would simply incorporate some leash pressure, get him back on, just make sure he stabilizes. Okay. Good job. Okay. Let's go, bud. Nice. Good job. Okay. I think we'll do a few more of those. Good. Okay. All right, so that's step number 2. And with all of these steps, keep in mind, it's not an amount of times that you need to do it before you move on to the next step. We're looking for the prerequisites of the dog being comfortable and fairly confident in the step before we move on to the next one. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna move on to step number 3 here, and that's engaging the treadmill. So we're actually gonna turn it on here, and we're gonna get it moving, and we'll just keep it at the slowest speed first and foremost. And then we're gonna basically go back to step number 1 with the treadmill moving. So no expectation of an amount of time that he needs to be on it, no expectation with, you know, the how many paws are on it or anything like that. I just wanna see him confident in getting onto the treadmill with the treadmill moving. Now this, I would say, is the hardest step for most dogs, and this is the one that you're gonna see is gonna take you the longest. You can see already, just from it moving, He's kind of looking at it all funny and stuff. He's definitely a little unsure of what's going on. So we're just going to start by just moving him around it, seeing if I can get him just getting one paw on at a time. Beautiful. And I'll allow him to step on, step right back off if he wants to. And all of this is nonverbal, just with the leash pressure. We're just going to do this a bunch of times here. Just repeating that process, getting smoother and smoother with it. Come on. There you go. Good job. Come on. Nice. And you see how we're not like strong arming him onto it, but we are taking away his option of doing anything other than getting onto the treadmill. Being nice and easy and patient with him. Nice. And just getting him overcoming that hurdle just like we've done with everything else so far. Very good. And you'll notice that second time he got over, he kind of crashed onto it. Definitely startled him a little bit, but we worked through the next repetition as if nothing happened, just reassuring him that everything is all right. Just got to follow us through this. Very good. Beautiful. And again, tons of repetitions. Come on. Beautiful. Perfect. Now we're going to start going this way. Changing it up a little bit. Perfect. So just go back and forth. Good job, buddy. Come on. I would say in addition to this being the hardest step for dogs, this is probably the most overlooked step for most trainers. I think a lot of trainers, once they get the dog getting onto the treadmill nicely without it moving, try to go right into having them actively walking on it, which in a lot of cases just can derail a lot of your progress. This is a very important stepping stone because usually standing on a moving surface and feeling it underneath them is very, very hard. So if we can create the expectation to be as easy as possible for them, you'll help them overcome that hurdle better each time. So now I'm going to try to get them to walk straight onto it here. Come on. Good job, buddy. Again, just for a second, then I'll let him get right back off. Come on. Nice. There we go. We'll just keep drilling that here. So raising the criteria a little bit. This is actually going to start getting him walking right onto it. Beautiful. Good job, buddy. And my expectation is that I want to start seeing him get 4 paws onto it at this point. So just for a second. Very good. So pressure's turning off as soon as 4 paws get onto it there. Come on. Nice. Good job, buddy. Beautiful. And I don't care if he actually walks when he's on it just yet here. Just want to see him get onto it. That is it. Beautiful. And you see he's starting to take a step or two at a time, getting acclimated to it. You can kind of call this step 3.5, if you will. Still no big expectations of being like on it for extended periods, but raising the criteria to getting all 4 paws onto it at a time. Beautiful. Now, this is something he's never done before, obviously, so we're just getting him used to this. Nice. Good job, buddy. Come on. We'll do a couple more like this. Hey, come on. Come on. There we go. I want to see. Hey, come on. There you go. Okay, come on. Good job. Couple more. Good job. Nice. Come on. There you go. There you go. Good job, buddy. So now we're on step 4 here, which is getting the dog actually staying on the treadmill. And we're allowing him to figure out the boundaries on his own here. So I'm staying loose on the leash, letting him walk through this. As he steps back too far, if he steps off of it completely, that will auto-correct. If he then steps off of the sides, I'll use the leash pressure in order to get him back onto it. And we're just teaching him the boundary is staying on the treadmill, and you have to continue moving just like that, or else you'll hit the end of it. Beautiful. And you see how he's kind of figuring that out on his own here. And just really light leash pressure, obviously, to communicate that boundary. Still on the slowest speed right now. Nice. And you see how right there, again, auto-correcting as far as the rear. And he's learning. He's got to keep moving. It's very weird for him initially, obviously, because he's not making any ground. Imagine being a dog and walking but not getting anywhere. Obviously, treadmills are not a natural thing in the dog world here. So they really have to kind of figure out and get acclimated to what exactly is going on. He's actually doing fantastic right now with it. Very good, buddy. And we'll just sit here and just let him cruise for a little bit. Allow him to continue getting comfortable with this. Again, if he was food motivated, which he's developing his food drive, he probably could get away with using a little bit, but start incorporating a food reward, obviously, when he does well. But I want to show you guys how to do this without the need of the food here, obviously. Good job, buddy. And generally, your first session or two, you're not going to worry about cranking the speed up here. These are kind of your introductory stages where it's not about getting a good workout in for him physically at this point. It's about getting him used to the process and the expectation of him on this treadmill so we can use it later on for those things. And you'll find a session like this for a dog like him unbelievably mentally taxing. The amount of problem solving that's happening right now, the amount of overcoming hurdles and fears is massive, and they're going to be generally very, very drained from this. Anytime he steps off, reapplying pressure. Hey. Making sure he understands he's got to stay on it still. Nice. And that's what I like to see, is that they learn those boundaries and they start auto-correcting on their own. Okay. So obviously whenever you want to release off, make sure you're the one that signals the dog gets off. And then what you can do is you can do repetitions of getting on and getting him walking. So we'll do the same process here. So I'm going to use the leash pressure, help him on. Perfect. Make sure he stays on. And what I want to see is that each time I do that, it takes less resistance and that he more quickly understands the boundary where he doesn't try to step right off again when I do get him on, which that was actually pretty good. Little resistance getting on, tried to get off one time. After that, obviously he's in the groove. He's walking nicely without the need of anything holding him there. Okay. Then we'll go ahead and try that again. Beautiful. And you see how smooth that one was, obviously. Okay. And we'll do one more. Come on. Nice. Beautiful. Good job, buddy. Excellent work. Again, no pressure on that leash. If you're needing to physically hold your dog onto the bed, something you're doing is wrong. You should be understanding that the way of escaping pressure is by staying onto the treadmill. Okay, good job, buddy. And that's how you treadmill train a dog.